how is the VP of Digital going to interact with e-commerce?
No, ETOPS.
ETOPS, sorry. So there's two focuses that position will have. About 30% of that person's responsibility will be servicing the current physical business. So to the point earlier about making the website better, making the sweepstakes better, all of that, they will focus about 30% of their time on that role. The remaining 70% of that time will be actually focused on building a digital revenue stream for the TOPS company. May not be associated with sports. I don't know what that looks like. Michael would be the person to tell you that. But the ETOPS portion of that will be revamped and will fall under Michael's level of strategy. But it will be heavily influenced by this group here and how they want to see that platform change and grow. What I would tell you on a larger digital level, I'd like to see us go from a monetary value standpoint for the card, where everybody's worried about just the value of the specific card, and take that to an experiential value. So move it beyond just breaking of the pack and move to something that lasts a little bit longer. I think it's how we get kids back engaged in the category. I think it's how folks that participated in the sweepstakes have a longer time frame with us. That may not specifically answer ETOPS for you, but that's as close as I can get right now. Michael's only been on board for a couple of weeks. I would tell you he's a tremendous asset to the organization. And I'm personally looking for great things to come out of that. The second question that he asked was GMG, which is recent acquisition. And that, for those of you that don't know what it is basically digital currency. Think Facebook credits. And it's the company that has the rights to sell Facebook credits in credit card form or gift card form in retail outlets. And for us, as we look at the digital space and understanding what the experiential value becomes, it makes a lot of sense for us to start playing in that category. Facebook is huge. The currency model is right. And we've got an exclusive opportunity really to capitalize on that with them. And we felt like it made a lot of sense for us in our long-term business strategy beyond just playing cards in the current entertainment portfolio.
People get the pool host card and then others are told that they're not getting it? Or is more that you just don't get the redemption you're hoping for and it gets subbed? Or both?
You don't get the redemption that was on the card.
Okay, so just a bit on redemptions. We all also, I can tell you, generally don't like redemptions. I will tell you, unfortunately, it's a necessary evil on our business, again, if we want to be able to ship products in a timely fashion. Because if we didn't need to ship products on time, which we don't always do, and I know we'll talk about that separately, but if it wasn't important for us to ship products on time, then we could just wait until all the autographs come in and we would ship every product 0% redemptions. Unfortunately, it would be anywhere from 3 weeks to 4 months to 2 years late. And the challenge we have, just to give you some perspective up front, is what happens is, we're working on Topps Chrome, we create a subject list, and then we go out and get deals with all of those players. And all of those players are then contractually committed to sign 3,000 autographs, right? Then we print the cards, and then we work with our reps to get those cards signed. And one of the things we do is we actually send a rep to every session. So rather than send a player our cards and hope that they sign them or their sister or their brother signs them, we send a rep there because it's important for us to witness the session, to make sure it's actually being signed by the player. And what will happen is the cards are available, we start setting up all these sessions, and Ian Kinsler, the first time we try and get him to sign, says, you know what, I'm busy. Or they just don't even return our call for 2 weeks. Then we set up a session with Ian Kinsler. I'm picking on Ian Kinsler. This probably isn't the right guy to pick on, but whatever. The second time Ian Kinsler, we send a rep there. He's supposed to meet us at the hotel. He sees the rep and he ducks around the corner because he's not feeling like it. He had a bad day at the plate was 0-4. I don't want to deal with it. Then we have a week left before we need that card to be in the product to ship on time. And Ian Kinsler goes on the DL. Okay. So then we're like, well, what do we do? Like, we've got to ship this product. Ian Kinsler's not going to sign. And that, at that point, forces us to put in the redemption. I can tell you 99% of the time, if a player is to be in a product, we have a deal with them. We don't put players if we don't have a deal with them. But the challenge we have is getting these guys to sign in our 6-week window, which is, we think, a fair window, and that's what creates redemptions. Then on the back end, what we do is every few weeks as a team we meet, and we go through what we call the backorder report, which is all of the redemptions. And we literally go through each card and we say, Ian Kinsler, we're trying to get him to sign. Albert Pujols, we have a session signed in 2 weeks. Those cards won't be in, we'll make the cards, they'll be out. And every 2 weeks we have that meeting. And then what happens is, most of the time we knock them off the list and they agree to sign and the session happens. You know, he may only sign 1,000 and then, 4 weeks later he may sign the next 1,000 and we gotta wait or send 1,000 out. At some point, and this happens infrequently, but it for sure happens. It happens a lot with non-sports athletes, a lot of the alligator people that we don't traditionally do business with, who don't quite get it, but sign up for it and we think they're in. They just won't sign it. And like, what can we do? We can tell them, well, we'll pull the money, but at that point, that doesn't do you any good because you want your card. But at some point, collectively, we say, look, we're not going to get this card. And we've made every effort, and I promise you, we make every effort. We don't just, oh well, we'll just not get it. We make a huge effort. At some point, though, we know that card's not going to come. And at some point, as a collector, you guys get frustrated. You guys want your card and are fed up. So at some point, we make that call, and it's never an easy call. And we don't like to make it. We say, you know what, we got to sell this card. And then we make an effort to replace that card with equal or greater value. And that's tricky. And I know I'm taking way too long to answer this question, but at that point, we make that call and we do our best looking at Beckett, looking at eBay, looking at values to give you a card that's equal or greater value. And that's always debatable. I've told my team to make it always greater, don't even bother with equal. I think we've done a pretty good job of that. Like, it's really subjective, somewhat outside of Beckett and eBay, but that's what happens. Now, on that piece, I agree with you. We need to look at possibly another model so that you can have some say. And typically, if you get that card and you're not happy with it and you call us, I know there's always exceptions, but we'll listen to you. And if it's, you know what, you're right, that's not greater value, equal value, we'll work with you. But I do agree with you, it would be nice where you have a say. Our redemption pool of cards isn't huge. We don't create cards for that. So what I don't want to do is create a system and then have crappy selection, and then you get even more infuriated that you get a pick and you're picking from 2 players that got sent down. So we got to get the right pool, but I do think ultimately that's where we need to go.
You gotta chase them around in 6 weeks if you give them a timeline.
Yeah, the
Breach of
problem.
contract really, it doesn't hold a lot of weight. These guys, if I say I'm not gonna pay you the $10,000, say great.
They'd be
Yeah,
happy.
but you're also losing time and effort in your product line.
Yeah.
But the ramp, we don't have enough strength, there's not a position for us to take though, where I can literally force them to sit down
Right.
and make the sign. Now, we can pick players that we have a lot more leverage over, and the product won't sell because they're not superstars. So you have that balance that you go back and forth. I mean, I will tell you, being new to the organization, redemptions drive me absolutely crazy. Not only from the consumer standpoint, more painfully, the amount of cost in our system to fulfill redemptions versus just getting the card out on time is astronomical. I mean, it is a huge cost. So it is top on our priority.
Honestly, the opening day product sells well and sells for a long time at retail. I mean, it's a brand, although it symbolizes a day in baseball, the brand with Topps symbolizes a low price point entry level product for retail. And that's just the fact of the matter. In hobby, it's not that strong of a product, but in retail, it would be hard to replace that volume.
Topps total?
In terms of Topps total, the last time we produced that product was 2005. And I joined Topps in 2006. And I remember a couple people asking me, I'd go to visit stores and they'd say, hey, bring back Topps total. And I'd say, I don't think so. And the reason we're not is because I looked at the sales volume for every release in 2005 for baseball. The least amount of sales volume that we generated from all the products back then was Topps total. And it's not that we don't
The
want to
industry's
produce.
changed in 6 years.
It has, but now what we're talking about is a low price point product
Right.
that would replace something else that, you know, it might not generate the same amount of sales volume. The reality is, and I have a pulse of the hobby market, and the retail guys have the pulse of the retail market, those conversations take place often. Because if there's a product that retail or hobby can embrace and get the sales volume that we need to make a product, we're gonna do that, but we're not gonna swap out something that we have a high confidence level in the market demands to replace it with a product that's going to satisfy a smaller percentage of the marketplace. It's not that we don't want to create a really big set, and it's great for autographs. There are a lot of benefits of that product, but selling, you know, if a store, for example, sells 3 boxes of Topps Total at that price point versus 3 boxes of Triple Threads, the sales volume, for example, is tremendously different. And we're based on, we're going to make decisions based on our profitability and sales margin, and the marketplace will tell us really what they want to do. So we can't afford to throw out a Topps Total and see how it does. We have to use market data and everything else to tell us that, you know, we're not yet there for a Topps Total product.
So-
It was very well received already. The 1962 Topps design, Heritage, is well received. That product has done very well in the
yeah,
marketplace.
yeah.
Heritage in general, and it's allowed us to take, you know, a great Topps brand and an image of a trading card and transcend a minor league card into what people know from a major league card.
Now,
So
is this going to be a one-off on the minor league heritage?
we'll see.
or-
You guys will tell us. You'll tell us how well it does. You'll tell us how, you know, how it was received, and you'll let us know whether we should follow suit. Maybe there'll be a 1963 version of that product next year.
The other thing, just to build on that.
It's also a different license, though. There's
The
a
minor
whole lot
league
of stuff
business
there.
for us, we need to launch at least 2 products a year.
It's an obligation for us.
It's an obligation.
It's just what Pro Debut won one series, so they,
And we thought creatively that Heritage product would be the most meaningful second release for collector versus a Series 1 and a Series 2. I don't know whether we would do that second release if we weren't obligated to do it, because it's,
Okay.
to your point, not a huge business for us, but that's the release we have to do. And we try to make the best out of it for collectors.
Right here, front.
Yeah, Hosmer will be in upcoming products. We have done a deal with him. He's also will be signing autographs. The one that Finest Baseball, Tier 1 Baseball. Most of the, a lot of these products that we've solicited already, Finest Baseball, Tier 1, some of these late season call-ups, we've actually gone out and gotten deals with them. So there'll be additional content in these products.
And one of the reasons, just for collectors to know, that we moved Finest Baseball back was exactly to catch players as they got called up. Because Finest used to be early, right? And we did, you know, September call-ups, and I never thought the product was great. Then we did the 10 redemptions, which were typically cards, not autographed. But by pushing Finest to the window it is now, which is in September, it allows us to catch the players, the Hosmers, the Ackleys as they get called up in that product and on autograph, which I think is great and will help Finest this year.
Right, like Destin Ackley, Mike Trout, Moustakas, Hosmer, they'll all be in Finest now. Whereas when we originally announced it,